The story starts with our main character, Alicia, who is a villainess in her favorite auto game. Alicia is a bad girl who has messed up the heroine's life. Despite this, the main character admires Alicia and thinks she would fit perfectly at the Academy of Noble Families. However, the heroine has been chosen for that place, even though she is just a commoner. The heroine captures everyone's hearts with her words. She's so innocent that she even plays with the prince's feelings. The main character thinks about how all her friends want to be heroes because everyone likes the heroine. But if she could be reborn, she would want to be a villainess instead. Suddenly, she wakes up and realizes she is now Reincarnated as girl, Alicia Williams, and she is 7 years old. Looking in the mirror, she says, "I am the eldest daughter of a high-ranking villain family, and I have a kind brother." Inside the game, Kanekuben realizes that she is now a villainess. She decides not to let this chance pass by. She will work hard to become the greatest villain ever. After this, she leaves and says good morning to her mum and maid. Her mum is surprised because Alicia never wakes up this early and even says good morning. Alicia thinks that until yesterday, she was very undisciplined, but now she knows she can't waste time if she wants to be the best. Next, she goes to her brothers, and Albert notices she woke up early. She tells him she wants him to teach her sword fighting because she wants to be strong. They don't believe her and think she's just playing a game, but Alicia insists she's serious. Then Belle says, "Okay, I'll teach you, but first, you need to get stronger before you can pick up a sword. You'll need to do 100 sit-ups and 50 push-ups every day. If you can keep that up for a week, then I'll teach you sword fighting, but I'm not sure you can do it." Alicia responds, "Don't underestimate me. I'll see you next week." With that, she leaves. Next, she goes into the library and decides to do her strength training in the evening. For now, she wants to study magic. She explains that magic exists in this world and is usually only available to nobles. There are different types of magic, but the basic ones are dark, fire, light, wind, and water. The 5 great noble families are experts in these elements and serve the king directly, acting as the kingdom's pillars. My family is skilled in dark magic, and we are one of those 5 families. Even though I have some natural talent, I can't master magic without training. She looks for magic books, but can't find any because the library is so large. So, she decides to start by reading books about plants. She spends the evening learning about different trees, and as time flies, she realizes how late it is. She thinks to herself that she got so lost in her reading. "I can't believe I read so many books in one day." Alicia is gifted. In the next scene, Alicia manages to do 50 push-ups, which is hard for her. She thinks that she has no muscles and feels weak, but she tells herself that if she wants to achieve her dream, she has to keep trying. After that, she starts doing sit-ups. The scene changes to the next day, and Alicia easily does 50 push-ups. She is surprised and says, "Yesterday, this was so hard, but today it feels easy. That's great." After breakfast, she then goes to the library, where she reads many books while also training. As time goes on, she trains a lot and reads a lot of books, and she makes great progress. In the next scene, she is having dinner with her family. She says, "Now I can do 500 sit-ups and 300 push-ups. Albert will teach me sword fighting." She smiles, and her dad looks at her and asks, "What has happened to you? You are waking up quite early," her brother says with surprise. Alicia replies casually, "It's nothing special." He then asks her where she goes during the day, pointing out that she used to spend all her time just lying around in her room. Alicia answers that it's a secret, not wanting to reveal too much. In her mind, she thinks they probably believe she is planning something sneaky, but the truth is, she's just embracing her role as a villainess. She knows that even if she tried to explain her old life to them, they wouldn't believe her anyway. They just wouldn't understand. At that moment, their mum turns to Albert and says, "You are going out today, right?" He nods and replies, "Yes. Paul is taking all of us on a tour of the Magic Academy." Their dad overhears this and adds, "I can't believe you are already 12 years old. It feels like just yesterday you were a little kid. Next year, you'll be able to enroll there too." Alicia listens to this conversation and thinks about how she won't be able to train until Albert comes back home. She feels a bit frustrated, as she is eager to improve her skills. After some time passes, she decides to go outside and walks into the garden. As she looks around, she sees some familiar faces among a group of people. Suddenly, it hits her. These people were also in the game. This realization sparks her curiosity, and she wonders what they are doing there. She begins to describe the people around her with a sense of excitement. First, there is Master Eric, who comes from the Hudson family. He is known for his impressive fire magic, which he uses with great skill. Next, she points out Master Finn, who belongs to the Smith family. He is an expert in light magic and always brings a bright energy to any situation. After them, she mentions Master Gale, hailing from the Evans family. He specializes in wind magic, and his abilities often leave others in awe. Then there is Master Curtis, who is part of the Canwood family. He uses green magic, which connects him to nature. Interestingly, she notes that Curtis is not from any of the 5 great noble families, making him a bit different from the rest. Finally, she talks about the king's younger son, Prince Duke Seeker. He is known for his water magic, and, as the story unfolds, he marries the heroine. This marriage is an important part of the game's happy ending. Alicia finds herself most interested by this storyline, but she decides to leave the romantic aspects to the heroine. Instead, she knows she needs to focus on building her image as a villainess. As she approaches the group, Bellbird turns to her and says, "This is your first time meeting these people, right?" Hearing this, everyone starts to look at her and then turns back to Bellbird, asking, "Is this your little sister? She is so cute." Alicia feels a bit flattered by their attention and can't help but notice how handsome they all are. With a new sense of determination, she tells herself that she will show them her manners, and she hopes it will surprise them. Feeling ready, she takes a deep breath and prepares to introduce herself, wanting to make a memorable impression on everyone around her. By demonstrating her manners, Alicia manages to surprise everyone around her. In that moment, Prince Albert turns to his friend Alan and says, "You were going to show us your sword-fighting skills, right?" Alan nods and replies, "Yes, we will." Alicia sees this as her chance and speaks up, saying to Albert, "If you are practicing sword fighting, then you should teach me too. You promised me." Albert responds, "I made that promise when you were doing your push-ups and sit-ups every day." Alicia insists, "But I've already done all that." The other boys don't seem to believe her and start ignoring her, turning their attention back to their training. Feeling frustrated and angry at being dismissed, Alicia snatches the sword from Albert's hand. Determined to prove herself, she kicks a nearby tree, causing an apple to fall to the ground. With a swift swing of her sword, she slices the apple cleanly in half. Turning to her brother, she confidently declares, "See? I told you not to underestimate me." The impressive display catches everyone's attention, including the prince, who watches in surprise. After witnessing her skill, Albert looks impressed and says to Alicia, "Okay, I will train you." Hearing this, Alicia feels a wave of happiness and replies eagerly, "I'll quickly change and be right back." She rushes off to prepare for her training session, leaving the boys behind. The prince, glancing at the cut apple on the ground, can't help but smile at her unexpected talent. Later, we find Alicia has been learning sword fighting from her brother for a whole year now. She has dedicated herself to training hard and improving her skills. During this time, she notices that the prince often visits their home. She feels a mix of excitement and shyness whenever she sees him watching her practice. After one of her training sessions, as she is about to leave, the prince approaches her. He says, "Today's training is complete." Alicia replies, "No, I'm taking a little break." She is taken aback because this is the first time the prince has ever spoken to her directly. He then asks her, "Why are you working so hard to learn sword fighting?" Alicia hesitates, unsure if she should share her true intentions with him. Instead, she simply says, "I just want to be powerful." Her heart races as she hopes her answer is enough to satisfy his curiosity. Hearing this, the prince praises her and starts patting her head, which makes her a bit shy. Just then, Albert arrives, and seeing Albert, the prince stops. After that, Alicia leaves as well. Albert then gives the prince a book and asks him why he visits their house so often. The prince looks at Alicia and says, "I don't know. I wish I knew why I come here." In the next scene, we see all the nobles and the king talking about Leona Village. Alicia's father says that the conditions there are getting worse, making it very difficult to live there. Another noble suggests that if they hurry and send help, people might feel better. He questions whether they should prioritize the Golden Rose first. Another man replies that their kingdom and people need hope, so they should take a little break first. The king agrees, and then they all start eating. During the meal, one man says that Arnold and Finn have invited Miss Alicia to their home. Alicia's father replies that he told her to avoid trouble. Another man adds that his son Eric said Alicia is very polite. Another man mentions that his son Gale said the same thing. Alicia's father comments that she used to be quite selfish, but a year ago, she suddenly started spending time in the library. He still doesn't understand what happened to her. In the next scene, we see Alicia arriving home. She thanks them for inviting her. Finn suggests having a tea party. Meanwhile, another person tells Albert that the king is also coming today. Then, Finn informs Alicia that many other guests have arrived, and all the guests are the rest of the nobles. Seeing this, Alicia wonders why everyone is there. Just then, Finn asks if the king has arrived, and they say no, but he will be there shortly. Just then, Alicia spots a map and remembers that in the game's ending, Alicia was taken out of the country and sent to a foreign land. She wonders if that ending is happening now. At that moment, the king arrives, and Alicia feels a little scared as she welcomes him. She thinks to herself, "What is the king doing here?" She says to the king, "I hope you are well." The king responds, "I have heard a lot about you, and I want to talk to you. Let's get straight to the point. How do you feel about our kingdom's situation?" Hearing this, Alicia thinks, "I don't understand the king's question. I'm just an 8-year-old girl, and he's asking me about politics. I feel like he is testing me. Yes, that must be it. This is my villainous test. God must have sent this task to see if I will really become a true villainess." She then says, "Even though this kingdom has a lot of power, it is still not a good nation." Everyone is surprised to hear her words. Alicia wonders how her answer sounded, thinking, "Do they realize I am a villainess?" She continues, "While our economy is strong, most of the wealth belongs to the nobility. This creates a big wealth gap. In Leona village, many people are very poor. They don't even know if they will have food to eat tomorrow. This can cause more hatred toward the nobility, which could lead to anger among the people." The king responds, "So we need to improve our economic strength. How can we fix this?" Alicia suggests, "Why not take advantage of our neighbor Calvera? We could use their gold mine." The king asks, "Doesn't Calvera have its own rules? Should we take it from them?" Alicia shakes her head and says, "No, we should support Calvera's independence. Fighting against them would be worse. We can keep a good relationship and trade with them. If we help them with their debts, when they gain independence, we'll benefit from trading with them." The king nods and replies, "So, we will build a relationship with Calvera to make ourselves stronger and profit from trading with them." Alicia thinks, "We'll use each other to make money, but if I keep things this way, I'll soon clash with the heroine. I need to succeed to become the greatest villainess in history." The king tells Alicia, "It was nice talking to you. I have to go now." After he leaves, Alicia feels a bit relaxed. The prince approaches her and asks, "Were you nervous?" She answers, "No." In the next scene, the king is leaving while praising Alicia. Then, another noble says, "There's something I want us all to discuss." He mentions that the golden rose has been found. The king is surprised and heads to the meeting. In the next scene, we see Alicia, who is now very tired and enjoying a lot of desserts. The prince watches her and smiles. Seeing this, everyone starts to say to him, "You used to be very emotionless. People used to call you Ice Prince, but now you seem a bit happy. What has changed?" In the next scene, Alicia is about to leave when the prince comes up to her. He hands her a gift and says, "This is for you. I'm a bit late, but happy birthday." Alicia thanks him and asks, "Can I open it?" He replies, "Yes, go ahead." When Alicia opens the gift, she is very surprised to find a diamond necklace inside. The prince asks, "Do you not like it?" She quickly responds, "No, I love it." The prince says, "Okay, then I will be leaving now." And after saying this, he walks away. Alicia thinks to herself, "Diamonds are very valuable. Why did he give this to me?" In the next scene, we see all the dukes sitting together. Suddenly, a rose appears in front of them, glowing in golden color. The king says, "There's no doubt that this is the golden rose. Who is its owner?" Another man explains, "There is a baker in Castletown who owns it. When his daughter was born, this rose bloomed, so he kept it." The king then says, "This means that the baker's daughter is special. That girl will join the kingdom's ruler and guide the people to save the world and bring peace." Another man adds, "Every time a person is born who can control the kingdom's fate, a special rose blooms. This was proven when a blue rose bloomed. This means it is specifically for the golden rose." The king says, "We have found the people responsible for the blooming of the blue rose and the golden rose. The blue rose bloomed because of the prince, and the golden rose bloomed because of that girl. When they come together, it will bring good fortune to the kingdom. However, bringing about this transformation will come at a price. The bigger the transformation, the bigger the price. Another man responds, "This means troubled times are coming." Different scenes are shown, and one man begins to say, "The story's saint told us that when the saint unites with a member of the royal family, we are not told what exactly was said." Hearing this, the king says, "We just have to accept our fate." In the next scene, we see Alicia, who is training hard. She says, "Even though I know that the prince will one day fall in love with the heroine and ask for the necklace back, I won't give it to him. I will refuse him, just like a true villainess would." Alicia declares, "Everyone in the world, watch how I make my debut as a greatest villainess.